Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Man. Deep breaths. In, 2, 3, out. Just let it all out, Mets fans. I know. You guys were feeling the way I was feeling during the middle of this game. As the New York Mets pull away and end up having a laugher of a victory, a 12-6 win over the Washington Nationals. But if you were tuned in from first pitch of this game where Brandon Sproat took the mound for his third career major league start, then you know 12-6 does not tell the entire story of tonight's game, as the Mets put us through the ringer with a ridiculous, unbelievably sloppy third inning that sees them give up 4 runs, but they're able to fight and claw their way back and take a big lead and win this one eventually by 6 runs over the Nationals. What a freaking game. My goodness, I'm exhausted from it. I really, truly am. It wasn't until the Mets were able to add on an insurance run and make it 9-6 there in the 7th inning that I really felt, okay, I think there's a pathway to them still winning this game. But those middle innings of this game had me on the edge of my seat, had me pulling my freaking hair out, watching them kick the ball around the field in the 3rd inning. Balls popping out of mitts, going past the outfielders into the wall. Well, not the outfielders, one specific player who we will get into. But it's the Mets bats tonight. Something that we thought when we constructed this team in the offseason and we entered 2025 would be a very common occurrence, that the Mets were going to out-hit their opponents, that they could put up 10 runs on any pitching staff in baseball and carry this team to victory. And unfortunately, it just hasn't happened as often as we thought it was going to here so far this season. But tonight, the Mets bats pick up some pitching woes and, more importantly, some defensive woes there. Juan Soto with the huge 3-run homer, his 42nd of the year, a single season career high, passing what he did last year with the other team that we share a city with. As the New York Mets continued to pour it on from there, Francisco Lindor with a huge day, Pete Alonso with a really good day, Francisco Alvarez with the key game-tying 2-run double down the left field line just an inning after that catastrophic top of the 3rd. And the Mets do exactly what I said they should do, and that is take care of a bottom feeder team. The Washington Nationals are not a good baseball team, and this is not me trying to be disrespectful. It's the truth. You look at their win-loss record, you look at all their numbers, they're not a good baseball team. And if the Mets want to make the postseason, it starts this weekend, and it starts with sweeping the Nats. And so far, so good as they get the dub here today. The Reds obviously win, unfortunately. The Cubs giving us no help, but at the very least, they stave them off for another day and maintain their 2-game lead over them, over Arizona for the moment, and for San Francisco as well, who are in action just about here soon. Guys, what is up? I'm Tony Metro. Welcome to the stream. If you are new, be sure to subscribe. Daily Mets content, post-game recap after every Mets game. Leave this video a like. Go ahead and do that right now. Really appreciate it, guys. Helps the channel out big time. And if you want to check out all my other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, links to all those are in the description of this video down below. Let's go to the chat. Garang Dang, hello. Was waiting for this. Garang Dang, I was waiting for you, my man. How's it going? Appreciate you tuning in, brother. That was a fun game. I mean, not really when the Mets went down in that 3rd inning, and we're going to get to it. But fortunately, the Mets bats able to outslug the Nationals and overcome. I mean, this game was drunk, guys. I mean, let's just be honest. Both teams looked like they drank a 5th of Jack Daniels before this game, okay? I mean, what the friggin' hell? The Nationals making errors in the outfield. That's how the Mets score their first run in the 1st inning on the little blue pit from Pete Alonso into right field. Then the Mets with that horrific 3rd inning. More errors in the outfield for the Nationals. I mean, just a comedy of errors from both teams today in those first 5 innings. I mean, this game was absolutely hammered, but in the end, the Mets win it. So yes, I can now say it was a fun game, but in the moment, my goodness, I was pulling my hair out. I was pulling my freaking hair out watching this the first few innings. Armand, we got to win. We can breathe and relax. Exactly. I mean, like, you can't breathe and relax right now. This is pennant baseball, guys. This is pennant race baseball. And as infuriating and as difficult as it is to watch innings like the Mets just had there in the third, this is what we were begging for all of those years when the Wilpons owned the Mets, when the Wilpons wouldn't spend money on this team and would trade away our best stars in lost seasons. This is what we begged for, and as crazy as it is sometimes, this is what it's all about, being a fan. Fortunately, like I said, the Mets end up on the correct side of the win-loss column. Big reason for that, like I said, Juan Soto with the 3-run homer, number 42 on the year, also swiped a bag, drew 2 walks in this game, all over the place. Francisco Lindor with 3 hits, with the hustle run on Pete's hit in the first inning that was botched out there in right field. He was literally running around with his hair on fire. Huge game for Francisco Lindor. Pete, 2 hits for him as well. One of them, the key RBI single right after the Nationals had just pulled ahead 4-1 after the third inning. Mets come back in the bottom of the third. Pete Alonso with an RBI single to at least soften the blow a little bit. The big stars came out tonight and did their job, and I am pumped up about it. Garang dang, so we taking Jose Siri back or what? Yeah, Jose Siri, man, I said it during the game and I posted it to Twitter. He should have been benched immediately after, not after the ball that fell out of his glove, not after not cutting that one off in the alley out in right center field. No. It should have happened in the next half inning or 2 innings later when he gets a pitch clock violation in a clear bunting situation. He doesn't get the bunt down, fouls it away, and ends up striking out. And then later striking out again. That should have been it. Jose Siri looked like he didn't know what planet he was on tonight. That is not acceptable right now when every freaking every game, every inning, every pitch matters right now for the Mets. This is pennant race baseball. Jose Siri did not look like he had any idea where he was today or the magnitude of these games. Absolutely abysmal. I would DFA him this moment. The dude is hitting .065 with an on-base percentage below 100, I'm pretty sure. This dude has got to go. It is terrible. Fortunately, good news, Tyrone Taylor had an RBI single in his rehab game with AAA Syracuse tonight, so hopefully there's the easy, quick fix. So, wow, my goodness, just a horrible look from Jose Siri. Fortunately, like I've said, the Mets able to overcome it. Pete Furlong, Electric Energy at City tonight. We're not in love with Siri. You could hear them booing Siri, and he deserved it. He deserved it 100%. I mean, first of all, let's just go through it. Okay, so first inning, Pete gets the Mets on the board, right? Then we go to the third. Sproat had been cruising. He walks the first batter. Next up, a little swinging bunt single that he throws away into right field. First of all, you got to say it. Juan Soto not backing up first on that play, not the greatest of looks, okay? He should have been down the line closer in case of exactly what happened. He's not there. The run comes around to score. We're tied 1 apiece. Then you get to C.J. Abrams, 1-1, 2 outs. He rips a line drive into right field. Didn't love the pitch selection. They went off speed there. I would have challenged them high and inside with a fastball, but Abrams has always killed the Mets. More on him later after he has a 2-run homer later in this game off Oscar Brazaban. Didn't love that choice from Mendy. Anywho, then you have the hit into left center field. And I didn't think there was a chance in hell that any center fielder was going to track that ball down. But Jose Siri is there in a flash. And at that point, it is an easy catch, as you could see on your screen right here, and it simply pops out of his glove. Just inexcusable. But to follow it up with this play then, not cutting that ball off there. And it doesn't matter because even if he does field that ball cleanly, cut it off before going to the wall, it's going to score the run anyway. It's 2 outs. The runner's on second. He's going to score anyway and make it 4-1. But it was a horrible, horrible look for Jose Siri. And then, like I said, 2 innings later, first and second, nobody out. Mets still trailing in this game in the 4th. He's asked to bunt, but before that, gets a pitch clock violation for not making eye contact with the pitcher in time. That immediately gives him an 0-1 count. He doesn't bunt the first pitch. It's a ball. The next one up at his face, fouls it away. Next pitch, strikes out swinging. Jose Siri should not see the field a single time again for the New York Mets this year. He has missed virtually the entire season. He is clearly not in baseball shape, or at least in the form of playing shape in terms of being able to make a routine play, lay down a bunt, be aware that you could get a pitch clock violation for not making eye contact with the pitcher in time. Jose Siri should not see the field again for the New York Mets this season. All right, that's my rant on it. Kev Chada didn't look good after 2 Siri blunders. Yep, it was really concerning. I was, like I said, ripping my hair out, cussing and screaming. I am surprised I didn't get a notification from one of my neighbors that they had to make a complaint on me. That was not a good third inning. But like I said, I thought so key for Pete Alonso to come back there in the bottom of the third with that clutch 2-out RBI single. That whole inning starts with 2 outs because, of course, Siri doesn't do anything, hits one to the warning track. Lindor able to get a base hit, Soto able to get a base hit, and then first and second, Pete able to get a really clutch 2-out line drive single into left field just past the outstretched glove of C.J. Abrams. And the Mets are able to, at least, like I said, soften the blow, make it 4-2, make it not feel like such a huge deficit after that ugly, ugly bottom of the third inning, top of the third inning. Diamondbacks are beating the Phillies 2-1 because, of course, thanks a lot, Taijuan Walker. We're going to get no help from the 2 teams that are going to the playoffs today. The Cubs already lost to the Reds, and now the Diamondbacks are beating the Phillies so far. So thank you very much, But anyway, yeah, really bad inning there for Jose Siri. Let's see. Kev Chada, I don't know about anybody could look worse than Helsley, but Siri outdid him. Yeah, and speaking of Ryan Helsley, am I speaking out of turn when I say that that was probably the best that Ryan Helsley has looked since getting into a Mets uniform? Because I really think that is probably the best that Ryan Helsley has looked since they traded for him. He comes in the 7th inning. We are all freaked out. That obviously goes back to Carlos Mendoza deciding to pull Brandon Sproat after just 4. So they go to Huascar Brazoban there. The Mets now have an 8-4 lead thanks to Francisco Alvarez, the 2-run double, Francisco Lindor with an RBI hit down the line, and then, of course, the big bash, the 3-run homer from Soto. Okay, great, 8-4. I'm thinking in my head, we're definitely going to Brandon Sproat here, right? For a 5th inning. I mean, I know he had the throwing error, but he could have got out of that inning much earlier had it not been for the Siri drop fly ball. But instead, you go to the bullpen, and you're asking them for 15 outs, and you kick it off with Huascar Brazoban, and I did not like that. A base hit to lead off the inning. He gets an out, and then it's C.J. Abrams again, who is a Met killer, launching an absolute bomb to right center field, and all of a sudden it's 8-6, and it doesn't feel that comfortable anymore. But the Mets do end up going to Ryan Helsley after going to Ryan Stanek, after going to Brooks Raley. It's Helsley's turn in the 7th. I've never seen him pitch that way in the orange and blue. He was locating his fastball top of the zone, inside, outside, lefties, righties. He threw sliders for strikes, competitive sliders. Not ever seen that from Helsley as a New York Met, and it is a 1-2-3 inning for him. So I got to say, Helsley has looked the best that he has so far since the Mets acquired him, and I still got to see a little bit more, okay? I still got to see a little bit more, but he is starting to inch closer back into the circle of trust. I'm not ready to put him in yet. He is not in yet. You're not in yet, Fokker. But he is getting closer and closer because this is now 2 or 3 consecutive pretty solid appearances for Ryan Helsley. So I don't know if he is going to ever get back into that full trust with me, not given how we saw how he performed in the beginning of this year, or at least the beginning of his tenure with this team. But I have liked what I've seen lately from him. And if he can turn it on, now that we're in this playoff stretch, that would be a huge boon for Mendoza and this bullpen. Let's go back up a little bit. Sorry, guys. I am trying to catch up. I'm talking a little bit too much. I should be reading your guys' chats. Let's see. Garang Dang, so happy the offense didn't do the thing where they give up after giving up the lead. Yes, that is a major concern. I was very worried about that after that 3rd inning when they went down 4-1. Like the offense was just going to get shut down, especially against a lefty, a rookie that they have never seen before. That is usually a recipe for disaster for this Mets team. But fortunately, they bashed Alvarez, and then they bashed the Nationals bullpen, which, let me remind you, is the worst in baseball. But the Mets didn't get the memo of that down in D.C. back in August. So fortunately, the Mets take advantage of all that here tonight. Let's see. Garang Dang, Brett Beatty, and Alvarez got to be my favorite bottom of the order. Vientos needs to lock back in. Not a good day for Mark Vientos at all. Grounds into the double play in the first inning, and then had another opportunity there. I think it was with 2 outs and grounded out to shortstop. With that would have been, I believe, after Pete Alonso's RBI single there in the bottom of the third. So yeah, definitely not a good day for Mark Vientos. He has been struggling lately. I mean, it is just impossible, seemingly, to get all of the baby Mets going at the same time. Great night for Alvarez, great night for Beatty, and then you have Mark Vientos doing what he's doing. So it's just been a struggle to get all of them going at the same time. And hey, shout out Luis Acuna, Jeff McNeil with the base hit, pinch hitting, pinch runner, Luis Angel. Steals second, ends up scoring on 2 groundouts there in the in the 7th to give the Mets a little bit of breathing room before they really patted it on there in the 8th. So nice to see that for sure. Danny, okay, we won. I'll sleep good. Not sure about Siri. He looks like a walking nightmare. Like I said, Siri does not see the field again if I'm the manager. If I'm the manager, Siri does not see the field again here down the stretch. That's it. I'm sorry. Tyrone Taylor's on his way back. The only thing that made Jose Siri actually a playable, usable guy was his glove. And what did he do tonight? Cost the Mets 2 runs. So absolutely not. You're hitting under 65. 65. So you're done. I would not put Siri out on the field ever again unless it is in a desperate pinch runner situation. Let's see. Kevchada, Siri messed up as if doing an oral report about something he never studied. Like, just stuttering in front of the class, right? Edward, Christian Aquin, down year. Soto was so goated. Great game, but there are a lot of holes tonight. A lot of errors. Still cruise with our 12 runs tonight. We need to sweep this series to have a cushion in the WC. Yes, that is correct. No doubt about it, because I mean, it looks like the Cubs are going to lay down for the Reds, guys. It's unfortunate, but the Cubs really don't have anywhere to move in the playoff picture. They are not going to catch the Brewers. They entered today trailing by 6 games in the Central. They have a 5-game lead over the Padres for the first wild card, so it is very unlikely the Cubs will see any movement in their playoff positioning, so they really have no reason to put their A lineup out there or to throw their best arms. They can get everything in order the way they want it for their wild card series that they will be hosting. So hopefully the Cubs can at the very least win 1 of 4 this weekend with the Reds. Would love to see them win these last 2 tomorrow and Sunday, but don't count on it. The Mets need to take care of business themselves, and if they do that and they win the games in front of them, nothing that the teams behind them can do anything about it. So let's see. Garang Dang, that said he could get 40 at Citi Field. Talking about Soto, yes, 100%. Yeah, I mean, and just to go back to you there, Edward, huge game for Soto, huge season, 42 homers, 5 RBIs now, or somewhere around there, 104 RBIs. The OPS is ridiculous. He draws 2 more walks tonight. He's got, 34 stolen bases on the year. He's gunning for a 40-40 season. I was one of them. I'm guilty. I was very concerned about Soto after those first 2 months. Not that it was going to be like this for the remainder of his 15-year contract, but for this year, yeah, I was pretty worried Soto wasn't going to be the Juan Soto that we have seen him be for so many years. I thought it might take that full year adjustment like we've seen with Carlos Beltran and we saw with Francisco Lindor, but Soto has had just an unbelievable year and truly one of the greatest offensive talents in the game, and he is ours for 15 more years, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, go ahead, leave this video a like if you've not already. Really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, you all. Armand per Mike Mayer, Brian Helsley has 3 straight scoreless outings for the first time since the Mets acquired him. So I'm not just speaking out of turn here, guys. I ain't just talking out of my ass. I said it. This is the best Helsley has looked since joining the Mets. And I thought it was 2 or 3, but thank you for telling me that, Armand. 3 consecutive scoreless outings for Ryan Helsley. Love to see it. Let's see. Kev Chada, yes, hell, forgot about the bright lights in New York, and he was tipping. Maybe. I mean, he looks like a different guy right now. He looks like a totally different guy. Like I said, command is the biggest thing. He was able to get that fastball up in the zone on both lefties and righties, inside, outside. Didn't matter. I mean, just using all 4 quadrants, and more importantly, throwing the slider for a strike. It wasn't just a waist slider in the other batter's box. He was actually able to pinpoint it on the corner. So really impressive job from him. And like I said, if you get good Ryan Helsley back, or at least close to what you got from him in St. Louis, Ryan Helsley totally can transform this bullpen in the back end of games. Let's see. Garang Deng, yeah, and off Sproat is still better than Brazaban, in my opinion. Yeah, 100%. Real quick, Jose says, I thought that Captain Hook Mendy was going to punt the game after taking out Sproat in the 4th inning with a 5-run lead. So let's get into it, guys, because I did not agree with the decision. It was a terrible decision by Mendoza to pull Brandon Sproat after the fourth inning. Sproat obviously ran into some trouble there in the third, partly because of his own doing. He walks 2 batters in that inning. He throws that ball away down the first baseline. That scores the first run, has an opportunity to get out of it and get CJ Abrams for the final out of the frame, but can't get him. Okay. But then you have the Siri era. That obviously allows a run to score. It extends the inning, 2 more batters, and another run later, and it's 4-1. Pitch count for Brandon Sproat at that time was, let me check for you guys. Sorry, I should have had this on hand already, but Sproat had thrown, where is it? Anybody? Somebody? Bueller, anybody? Pitches, where is it? Sproat had thrown 71 pitches to that point. And it was an inning that largely came unglued because of the defensive miscues of Jose Siri. I don't know how you go to Oscar Brazaban there. I don't understand. You just got an 8-4 lead. I understand it was the 9-1-2 coming up, so he was about to see the top of the order for the third time. He had already retired James Wood twice. Yeah, he had trouble getting CJ Abrams out there to finish that third inning, and then obviously the 4-5 hitters did some damage, but all of it could have been avoided had Jose Siri just made that catch in left center field. So I was not going to hold that against Sproat, especially after you just handed him an 8-4 lead. I would have had Sproat go back out there for the 5th and then call it a day. I don't know if there was a pitch count limit on him. I don't know if they're considering inning limits on him. And as that progresses toward a potential postseason run, I don't know about that. We're going to hear from Mendy here right on my stream, so keep it tuned. But I thought it was the wrong decision. And you go to Oscar Brazaban, who has been, let's just call it like it is, terrible, completely unreliable pretty much since June. Pretty much since they sent him down in June, and he had injuries in between all of it, and he's been shuttling back and forth between Queens and Syracuse. Oscar Brazaban is about as low on the totem pole as you can possibly be in this Mets bullpen, and promptly gives up a 2-run homer, and all of a sudden, we're sweating this one out again, at least until about the 7th or 8th inning when the Mets finally added some more runs. So, didn't love the decision there at all from Carlos Mendoza. Did not agree with it, but fortunately, outside of Oscar Brazaban, a really solid game from this bullpen. Brazaban retires just 1 batter. Raley gets the final 2 batters of the 5th. He gets the first batter of the 6th. They go to Ryan Stanek. He's able to get a strikeout and a line out for the final 2 outs there. They go to Ryan Helsley for the clean 1-2-3-7. Tyler Rogers with about the quickest 1-2-3 8th inning that you will ever see. And by that point, the Mets had blown it open, and I love that they did not have to use Edwin Diaz today, because that is now 3 days in a row that the Mets have not had to use Edwin Diaz. In fact, that might actually be 4. I don't think they have actually had to use Diaz since Sunday. So I don't think he has pitched in now almost 5 full days. So now we have a very, very well-rested Edwin Diaz with an off day coming up on Monday before the road trip to Chicago. So that bodes very well in the Mets' favor if they do play tight games with the Nationals either Saturday or Sunday, where he could pitch multiple innings, at least 4 to 5 outs in either of those games, or have a clean inning in both of them, no harm, no foul. You get the off day Monday, then you're going to Chicago. And who knows where the standings are by then. But love that the Mets were able to blow this one open, give Diaz that day off, although Davinsky made it a little interesting there before getting the final out. But job well done by this bullpen. Let's go back to the chat. Jose says Siri looked lost at the plate and on the field. Jose Siri didn't look like he knew what planet he was on. Okay, he didn't even realize he was in a baseball game. Who was that pitcher? Doc Ellis, I think it was, for the Pittsburgh Pirates that threw a no-hitter on LSD or something. Maybe he had some LSD before this game, because he doesn't look like he knew where the hell he was. And like I said, he doesn't see the field again for me down the stretch here. If I'm Carlos Mendoza, that's it. Jose Siri's done. Cedric Mullins, all of a sudden, starts to show a little bit of life at the plate, getting on base a little bit, stealing some bases in that series against the Padres. Yoink, pull him out for Jose Siri, because that makes a lot of sense. Not. Kev Chada says Siri can't catch up to playoff level baseball and needs a full spring training. And this is nothing new. He never was a good hitter. This guy's always been a below the Mendoza line kind of hitter. He's a guess hitter. You guys play MLB The Show? You know those guys that are guessing one location all the time? That is Jose Siri. Will strike out a billion times, and every now and then he'll get lucky and run into one. Carson, Siri's just misunderstood. He was trying to keep everyone entertained, and the fans were booing. Very ungrateful. Very, very ungrateful. I hear you, Carson, man. And if I had known that, I would have been a lot less harsh on him. So I apologize, and I hope Jose Siri's feelings are not hurt for his absolutely awful performance. I've never seen anything like it. Drop fly ball, not cutting one off, getting called for a pitch clock violation, failing to get a bunt down, and then striking out. Oh my God. You want to talk about war? Jose Siri's war must be like -5 right now. Let's see. Eric Douglas needing 7 pitchers to beat the Nats was slightly disappointing. Yeah, well, it's kind of how the game is dictated sometimes. And unfortunately, the defense cost him in the third. Part of that does fall on Sproat for throwing that ball away and for walking 2 batters in that inning. So I'm not completely absolving him. You could have put him out for the 5th. That would have made it, 6 pitchers? But you also were looking at matchups in terms of how long you left Rayleigh in there. They have a couple lefty sticks through the Nationals in their lineup, so you had to get him in there at some point. I don't get all too bogged up and worried about how many pitchers we had to use at this point in the game. We have to win every single game. I don't care if they gotta find some retired guy from the 1969 Mets to come in and relief. You gotta win these games. So let's see. Kev Chata Mendoza's too analytics driven. He has no feel for the game, and a lot of people have said that lately. They have said this year he is very analytics. He's not as much feel. And I thought he did a really good blend of it last year. I thought Mendy in his rookie year managing this team in 2024 did a really good job of blending the analytics and going by the book, but also going with his gut and trusting his players. But this year, he has been more analytics. And here's why. I'll tell you right now. Because every time that Mendy has tried to push a button and trusted in one of his guys, they have let him down. The players have not gotten the job done. And at the end of the day, Mendy has to answer to the front office. He has to answer to the scouts that put together these analytic plans and these notebooks. And he has to tell them why he didn't do it. So now there's no excuse. He's doing what they're advising him to do. Because every time he tried trusting his gut, he tried trusting his players, veterans, guys with years of experience, guys making millions and millions of dollars, they spit the bit. And so I think he is a little more analytical now, but I think that's because his players have proven to him that they're not going to get the job done when he tries to put some faith in him. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't know. I liked Mendy last year. I don't love his managing style this year. I don't know if it is a product of the roster and the situation that they are in. But, we'll take the win here today, and I think that is a conversation for another day. Hopefully it doesn't, come back to haunt us at some time in the future. But I do agree he has not been flawless. No doubt about that whatsoever. Let's go back to the chat here. Let's see. Kev Chata, Mendy taxing the BP too soon can affect us Saturday, Sunday. Well, the hope obviously is Nolan McLean is going to pitch 6 to 7 innings tomorrow. Now, there's one caveat to that. Nolan McLean is approaching 50 innings pitched in the major leagues this year. And if he gets to that, he will not have his rookie status for next year. And let me just give you a message to David Stearns and Carlos Mendoza in the Mets front office. If you try to pull that crap, if you try to tell me that Nolan McLean is not going to pitch as deep as he needs to here down the stretch so that the Mets make the playoffs because you want to maintain another year of control on him, I will never go to another game again. I will never buy a Mets-related item again if they miss the playoffs because of that. So that better not be the case. Something to keep in mind, though. McLean reaches 50 innings. He loses rookie status for next year. And we all know the Mets didn't want to pull him or Sproat up earlier than that date in August because they wanted them to maintain that extra year of control on them. So I am praying that will not happen. That's a very Wilponian move. I don't believe Steve Cohen and David Stearns would manipulate them that way. So hopefully that is not in fact the case, but I believe you're going to get 6, hopefully 7 out of McLean tomorrow if he pitches the way that he has so far in the big leagues. And then we don't have to worry as much about the pen. And like I said, you didn't have to use Diaz today. I don't believe we saw him at all in the series against San Diego. So I'm sorry. Yes, he did pitch on Tuesday in the opening game of that series. Okay, so he's at least now here on 3 full days rest though. So you could easily go to Edwin Diaz for 4 or even 5 outs tomorrow if necessary, or a clean inning tomorrow, a clean inning Sunday if need be. So I am not getting all too concerned about the bullpen. These guys know it's all hands on deck right now. These guys know everybody needs to make themselves available, and they will tell Mendy that they are ready to pitch. So Garang Dang Hell's Bells come back. Yeah, I mean, maybe they, I don't know if they're still paying it out there at Citi Field, but he has pitched well. 3 consecutive scoreless outings for Ryan Helsley. Like I said, totally changes the look and the shape of this lineup if they do, or of this bullpen, if they get good Ryan Helsley back. Jose Lopez, these stupid pitch counts prevent the young pitchers to fully develop. I mean, they are obviously trying to be careful here with them. They don't want to burn any of them out, not only for this year, but for the future outlook of them. Don't forget, these guys pitch in the minor leagues too. You know, it's not like they were just sitting on their hands down there in AAA. So these guys threw upward of 100, 110 innings down in AAA as well, and AA. So, you know, we want the long-term health of them. We obviously want the playoff spot. I do agree. I would have let Sproat pitch the 5th inning, only 71 pitches, but fortunately today does not come back to harm us. Let's see, Armand, thank you. Yes, Diaz did pitch yesterday. I apologize. So let's see what else. Did he pitch? He pitched Monday and Wednesday in that series? Yeah, I believe so. Tuesday, Thursday. Let's see. Absol says Soto has more homers this year than he did with the team from the other side of town. That is correct. Soto with number 42, and in a big moment, I mean, that ball just kept carrying and carrying, very nearly a slam dunk into the apple. What a time for his first 3-run homer as a New York Met. We know that all of the people that wanted to tease the Mets and Soto for joining us wanted to tease, oh my God, I can't believe he still hasn't hit a 3-run homer for you guys. That's insane. Well, how about that? Number 42, single season career high for Soto, and that's his first 3-run homer, and comes in a huge spot to put the Mets up 8-4 in this game. It ends up basically being the difference in this one, because obviously it gets to 8-6. It would have been 6-5 had he not hit that bomb. So great on Juan Soto there. It has just been a total joy to watch. Let's see. Jose Lopez says Captain Hook Mendoza tends to overmanage, showing the cracks on his managerial ability. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's overmanaging or if he's managing desperately at this point. I mean, it's hard to decipher, to be honest with you. Absol 93 straight stolen bases to second base since May 20th. It's insane. Just automatically put the Mets runners on second when they get on base at this point. I mean, nobody can throw Mets base runners out. And it's not even like we have a roster full of speedsters. We're not like the least athletic team either, but I mean, the Mets base running, base stealing, thanks to Antoine Richardson's help, has just been ridiculous. Lock this guy up. 10-year contract, $100 million for Antoine Richardson, because wow, what a secret weapon the Mets have there. Military Mike LGM, 8 to go, inch by inch. And guys, that's it, man. Win the games in front of you. Mets win these games. They don't have to worry about what the Reds and what the Giants and what the friggin' Diamondbacks are doing. If the Mets just continue to win games, they will be okay. And I hope that what the Cubs are doing right now against Cincinnati is an indication of what we are going to get from them next week when we go out to Wrigley Field, because they don't look interested in playing the Reds at all. Yesterday, I understand they had clinched the playoff spot the day before. They were hungover as a mother effers. Okay, they got one hit by Hunter Green. You don't want to see Hunter Green in the batter's box hungover, having double vision. I can imagine how tough that must be. But today, I mean, they just get outslugged by the freaking Reds. Come on. So hopefully the Cubs keep laying down for us next week. Doubt it, because nobody ever does that for us, but we shall see. Pete Furlong, FYI, Diaz did close yesterday. That's my bad, guys. This game had me blacked out, honestly, and I have forgotten everything about that series now from the Padres. So yes, Diaz did pitch yesterday. Off today. That is the good news. We didn't have to use him there when it was, 9-6 before the Mets cracked for 3 more runs there in the 9th to blow it open, 12-6. So fortunately, I do think we have Diaz available both tomorrow and Sunday, or for 4 to 5 outs tomorrow. And then, hopefully Sunday, you're blowing them out and you don't need him again. Let's see. Kev Chada's Pro deserved at least to start the next inning 100%. And let's actually go over to SNY, hear what the manager has to say. I don't know if he commented on that or not, but I would like to hear if he had any reasoning for pulling Sproat as early as he did in this one. You have an interview with Jose Siri? I'd also like to hear from him. That would be great, right? Guys, go ahead, leave this video a like if you've not already. Really appreciate you all being here, and liking this channel and video is a really good way to keep it going and get more Mets fans in here. So really appreciate you all being here. Here's Mendy on what he saw from Brandon Sproat, and I don't know if he gets into the decision on why he pulled him, but we're going to listen anyway.
Yeah, I thought the first 2 innings he was pretty nasty.
Really nasty.
Especially with the way he was using the breaking ball, the sweeper, the curveball. Like, he threw a lot of them, 4 strikes.
And great command, too.
Misses to get back in counts. The sinker obviously was playing up. And then on that 3rd inning, I thought he lost it a little bit. You know, leadoff walk, then he doesn't make a play. And he kind of got away from him a little bit because he lost the strike zone there for a minute. Then his first and he gets a ground ball. We turn the double play, and he's, you know, one batter from getting out of that inning, and before you know it, they hit some balls really hard there. But I like what I saw. And I think even though he only gave us 4, I was aggressive with him. I thought he could have kept going, but, you know, where we at, every game I'm going to be aggressive when we need to. But I thought it was a positive outing from him.
Was that about 3rd time through the lineup mostly?
Yeah, and then watching those lefties on that 3rd inning after Woods, Abrams, you know.
Yeah, and he was missing glove side when he was failing to locate there in that 3rd inning. And so I guess he was thinking, you know, with the lefties coming up, it wasn't going to be a favorable matchup. You have James Wood, you have C.J. Abrams, who already had that RBI single off of him in the 3rd inning. So didn't want to have him see those guys for a 3rd time through the top of the order again. But yeah, I would have went to him for that 5th inning for sure. I definitely would have. And again, like I said, guys, I don't know if it's being aggressive, if it's being scared, or if it's managing out of desperation. But this was one of those games that you simply could not afford to lose. So, you know, Mendy going with the veterans out of the pen, I guess. That's where you felt more comfortable. I don't agree with it. I don't think most of you agreed with it. Fortunately, it does not come back to harm them at all. Kev Chada ends up saying, or I'm sorry, Absol Mets bullpen stepping up tonight. All quick innings, good to see. I mean, how many games have we watched this year, guys, where it is just a long, drawn-out slog of an inning with foul balls and 3-2 counts and base hits and walks for Mets relievers? Tonight, the exact freaking opposite. I mean, just quick, efficient innings from the Mets bullpen. Everyone outside of Huascar Brazaban, obviously, he has the 2-run homer there, but outside of that, Mets relievers don't issue a walk in the final 4 2/3 innings. None from Raley, none from Stanek, none from Helsey, Rogers, or Davinsky. Just 2 hits, both of them coming off Davinsky there in the 9th inning. And even after those 2 hits, was able to come back with back-to-back strikeouts. So really happy what we saw from this bullpen tonight. They were really solid in the San Diego series as well, keeping those games tight for the most part, and then holding leads on Tuesday and Thursday's win. So the bullpen quietly been a lot better lately. Quietly has been a lot better for this team lately. So I am pumped up about that, to see the Mets relievers getting the job done here lately. Joe, would you call up Ross? I got to be honest, I don't know who or which Ross you're talking about, Joe. Let me know which one, and I'll let you know. I'm probably not going to realize who it is since I don't recognize the last name there. Kev Chada says, remember when we all thought we didn't have to worry about the Reds? We can't overlook anyone. I mean, yeah, of course not. At this point, we've known about the Reds now for pretty much a month, or like 3.5 weeks or something like that. I mean, unfortunately, Reds have a pretty easy schedule down the stretch here. The Mets need to continue to win, and they need to finish with a record that's at least 1 game better than Cincinnati, because the Mets blew it against them. They lost 2 out of 3 to them at Citi Field back in August, and they lost 2 out of 3 to them at Great American Ballpark last month. And so they lost the season series. The Reds have the tiebreaker. Mets have to have a better record by at least 1 game over Cincinnati, or they take this playoff spot from us. So hopefully not the case, but we'd like to see the Cubs, you know, not completely lay down and die like dogs against them. That would be nice if we could get some freaking help for once. Ross Geller from Friends. Oh my God, David Schwimmer. I hate that show. I never really watched much of it, but it's so, I mean, it's either you're a Seinfeld guy or you're a Friends guy, and I'm a Seinfeld guy, so I can't with Ross from Friends. Jimmy James C out with family tonight. What'd you miss? Oh, just about everything. Jose Siri tried to light Citi Field on fire. The Mets didn't let him. Juan Soto to the rescue. 3-run homer, number 42 for him, another stolen base, 34. Lindor with a big night, and the Mets bullpen getting the job done. So not much, Jimmy, just, your typical Mets pennant race game here in the final 2 weeks of September. They always like to make it interesting. Could never just be a nice, easy win. No, that doesn't happen for the Mets. Absolutely. Got to root for Philly tonight. Yeah, I hate to say it, but we are rooting for the Phillies this weekend against the D-backs. Last I saw, they were trailing 2-1. Taijuan Walker, the former Met, of course, is pitching in this series for them, so hopefully they can cool down the Diamondbacks. I mean, it's crazy, man. We got 3 teams right behind us, dude. Diamondbacks playing well, Reds playing well. San Fran, the one that was the closest to us, very nearly overtook us for the final wild card spot last Saturday after the loss to the Rangers. They have fallen the furthest behind out of any of those teams, so we are not out of the woods yet, but hopefully you finish off the job this weekend. You sweep the Nationals as you should, and we'll see what happens with Chicago. We'll see if the Cubbies are going to still be dead Cubbies like they have been here so far against the Reds. I hope that trend continues. Let's hear what perfect. Here's what Mendy had to say about Jose Siri. We get our pound of flesh, Mets fans. Let's hear
He
it.
didn't have a good day, obviously.
Not a good day.
But all I was telling him is just keep your head up, keep going. Mistakes happen.
Wait.
I thought he went a long way.
Wait, hold on. Keep your head up? Your ass? Is that what you were telling him, Mendy? Keep your head up. Yeah, your ass. Because that's where it was for Jose Siri tonight. I mean, my goodness. Dropping a ball, not cutting a ball off the very next batter. Getting a pitch clock violation and striking out because he failed to lay down the bunt. Oh, my God. Yeah, keep your head up, Mendy tells Siri. Yeah, up your ass.
Place for that ball, got there and dropped it. And then a poor route on that ball in the gap.
No shit, Sherlock.
I know it could get hard, right? But I think not putting your head down and keep competing, that was pretty much my messaging to him, because they're gonna make errors. It happens. The one thing I don't like is guys kind of putting their head down, and that was basically
no. See, that's where I disagree with you, Mendy. And whatever, the Mets win, so we're not going to harp on this any more than after tonight, unless he gets more playing time and keeps making boneheaded mistakes. I don't have a problem with a player putting his head down and being all upset with himself. I have no problem with that. I have a problem with mental mistakes, because it was a mental mistake to then get caught on a pitch clock violation when the Mets were still trailing at that point in the bottom of the 4th with first and second, nobody out, failing to get a bunt down because he already has a strike in his count. That is a mental mistake. I'm not okay with those, and neither should the manager. So, not great night. Awful, in fact, from Jose Siri. And like I said, if I'm Mendy, Jose Siri does not see the field again during this pennant race, or hopefully in the playoffs, unless it is a desperation pinch runner situation. That is the only time I would be calling on Jose Siri. All right, here's Nimmo. Let's hear him. Actually, real quick, though, let's go back to the chat before that. Armand, White Sox beat the Padres 4-3. All right, well, the Mets are only 3 back for the second wild card spot now, so I guess that's good. I was hoping if the Padres kept putting pressure on the Cubs, that then the Cubs would help us out, continue trying to beat the Reds this weekend, but obviously that's not the case. So I guess we got to just root for the Padres to keep losing and see if we could catch the second wild card spot. But again, I think it's unlikely, but 3 games back, not impossible. Not impossible at all. Don't want to get greedy, just want to get in. Giants lead 1-0, bottom second against the Dodgers, and now it is 1-1. Home run from Miguel Rojas, so it is 1-1 out at Chavez Ravine. The Dodgers have just tied that game up. Hopefully they can knock the Giants down, and that would put them 4 back. Diamondbacks are 2.5 back. That could be 3 or 2, depending on if they win or lose. Cincinnati is locked in at 2 games behind right now, of course, with their win over Chicago. Guys, go ahead and leave this video a like if you're not already. Really appreciate it. Helps the channel out big time. Let's see. Kepchada Mendy recited Tupac Shakur song to Siri. Keep your head up. Boom, doon, 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 doon. You got to keep your head up. Doon, doon. Let's see. Greg, that has nothing to do with another year of control over McLean. No, I don't think so. Wait, what are we talking about here? When I said earlier about them potentially keeping him short on his innings, I don't think so at this point. No, I don't. But I'm just saying, if it came down to that, that would be egregious. That would be malpractice. And we know the previous ownership would have done that. So I don't think that is the case here with McLean. I'm just stating the facts that if he gets to 50 innings, he exceeds his rookie limits for next year. And we know they didn't want to call him up earlier than they did in August because they wanted to maintain that control at that time. So I'm just laying it out as the facts have presented themselves here with the young pitchers and the way the Mets have handled them in their promotions to the big leagues. But I fully expect McLean to be full bore, ready to go tomorrow. If he is cruising through 6, 7, I expect him to continue and, have a good start. So hopefully that is in fact the case. Let's see. Military Mike, can't believe that wasn't charged as an error. That was a horrible, horrible call by the score. They charged that as a double when Jose Siri had that ball pop out of his mitt in left center field. So unfortunately, Brandon Sproat's ERA takes a little bit of a hit there when it very clearly should have been an error charged to Jose Siri in center field. Let's see. Abso was an insult to Mets fans if Siri plays any more games this year. Totally agree. Dude has not been here this year. He is clearly not in baseball shape, and I don't mean that in terms of he's not running well or anything. I just mean like reps. Swinging the bat in the batter's box against live pitching, tracking down balls in the center field gaps. Clearly is not in that type of mindset or in that type of physical condition. Hopefully Tyrone Taylor is good. Like I said, had an RBI single in a rehab game with AAA Syracuse tonight, so hopefully he'll be back soon. And like I said, Cedric Mullins just had a pretty good series against the Padres, and the Mets decide, let's put in Jose Siri today. That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, so not even opposed to getting Cedric Mullins in there over Jose Siri, if you can believe that. Garangdang, y'all flaming him. Chill. No, he's got to get flamed, bro. He's trash. That was bad. Armand Mendy with typical manager protecting player BS in the public. I mean, they got to do it, unfortunately, but that was unacceptable. Jose Lopez, the Mets need Tyrone Taylor back 100%. I hope he's back. We'll see if he needs any more time in that rehab stint that he's doing with AAA. Military Mike, I agree about Taylor for defense and speed alone. I mean, I can't even say defense after what we just saw here today in the third inning, I gotta be honest, but running on the bases, yeah, sure, we could definitely use him as a pinch runner in some situations. Kev John, maybe Siri sharded himself after looking like a rookie. Oh man, I don't know. Siri, ask Siri. How's that? Ask Siri. Yeah, I think he might have sharded himself. Yeah. Armand, I believe if McLean does not hit 50 innings pitched, the Mets get another first-round pick. Is that what it is? It's a first-round pick situation? Okay. So it's not about years of control. It's just about an extra first-round pick if he doesn't exceed it. I think I did hear something about that, Armand. Or Kev Chada. Who said that? Armand, right? Yeah, Armand did. Okay. Yeah, you might be onto something there. That's my bad if I made that mistake. It's too much to keep up with this team. I just want them to win freaking games at this point. Armand or Kev Chada, why never Acuna in center field? Have you seen him play center field in the minors? Yeah, well, we saw him play a little bit in the majors too. Very short amount of time. I think maybe only once. He made a diving catch out there in that one inning. I think that was out in San Diego actually back in July or whenever that series was. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I think they like having Acuna's pinch running threat on the bench, where tonight it turns into a run when he pinch runs for Jeff McNeil, where he steals second, scores on 2 ground balls. So I think they like to have the flexibility to use Acuna whenever they want to in a game, when the time dictates it. So I think that's probably where they're leaning toward more. And, you could flip the roles and have Siri be that guy, but I don't know. Siri did not look like he is in tune to playing right now whatsoever tonight. Let's hear a couple more here, and then we're going to start to wrap it up. Let's see what Brandon Sproat had to say about, I think, the last inning or that third inning. Yeah.
Back in that fourth inning, after that third, what were you able to do, just mindset-wise, to focus back up and have that clean inning coming off it?
Yeah, I mean, if I dwell on it, it's not going to do anything for me. I went to the bathroom, just kind of talked to myself a little bit. I'm like, I told myself, hey, it's the past, put it in the past, is what it is. I got to move forward for this team, and that's what I was able to do.
Yeah, and look, I mean, other than that third inning, some real nasty stuff in the first 2 from Sproat. Obviously, I think that throwing error that he made down the first base line kind of unnerved him a little bit. Then he has the errors from Siri, and it turns into a complete washout of an inning. Bounce back. Really solid fourth there. I would have liked to see him pitch the fifth. Unfortunately, he doesn't get that chance, but the stuff is there. This is just a kid, learning on the job, learning on the fly. And hopefully this is one of those lessons, even though it's, not necessarily all on him, but he also did walk 2 batters in that inning and committed an error himself. So we all want to point the finger and flame Siri, but at the end of the day, Brandon Sproat was culpable in a lot of that third inning unwinding the way that it did as well. So I still have a lot of faith in this kid. I still think he's going to be really good, and I still definitely want to see him either starting or pitching in some type of significant capacity come the playoffs. Knock on wood, should the Mets make it. So, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up here. It's been a long night. We got another one tomorrow, and we're going to be back with another post-game stream after tomorrow's game as well. But it's a win. You can breathe a sigh of relief. We can relax at least for a little less than 24 hours. Mets are on at 4 tomorrow. So the Mets have started the journey here down the stretch, and they completed stage 1 of what I told them they had to do, and that is sweep a bottom-feeding Nationals team. And that's the bottom line, man. The Cubs are not doing us any favors against the Reds so far. We will see what happens with the Diamondbacks and with the Giants. But if the Mets continue to take care of business, keep their own house clean, they won't have to worry about scoreboard watching because they have a minimum of a 2-game lead right now in the nearest competition for this final wildcard spot. So go out and do what a postseason team should do, and that is sweep a bottom-feeding last-place team in the Washington Nationals. Real quick, let's finish back out here on the chat. Kev Chada, McLean stays below 50 innings. We may get a middle-round draft pick if he gets Rookie of the Year award. Okay, gotcha. I didn't know exactly how it works. Redbird Fox, everyone's confused about McLean. It's simple. If he's still a rookie next year and wins Rookie of the Year, they get a bonus draft pick. They aren't going to hold McLean back from hitting 50 innings. Okay, gotcha. My bad. Didn't have full clarification of that rule. I've been listening to different podcasters, different, radio shows, and I never got a clear, totally affirmative answer on it. But thank you, Red Bear Fox, and thank you, Kev Chada. Now I understand. Okay. I mean, he could earn it this year. No, he won't, obviously. Even if he went to 55 innings, continued his dominance, is going to go to somebody else that has been up in the majors for the majority of this year. But thank you to you two for making that clear for me. Military Mike, Phillies and D-backs tied at 2 apiece. Very good. Kev Chada, you guys are right on the money with that. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate y'all being here in the chat. Appreciate y'all being here watching the stream. Thank you for the comments. Go ahead, leave this video a like if you've not already. Like I said, we will be back with another post-game stream after game 2 of the Mets and the Nationals. The Mets will have Nolan McLean on the bump, looking to take the first 2 of this series. But until then, guys, I am Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue.